Okay.
All right, folks, we are on, and let me start introducing my guests today. I've got Charlie from if I understand correctly, Charlie is now in. Tell me, Charlie, where are you? New York City. Is that
I'm
correct?
I'm ac- yeah, I'm actually right now living in Virginia.
Virginia. All right.
Yeah.
So that's where
Yeah.
he is, folks. And Ravaka, somewhere in the U.S. Let's me try not to tell her location so much. She want to be living in her quiet place, so no one can track her down. So it's somewhere in the U.S., so to
Yeah.
speak. But thank you for joining, and let me start with introducing how I come across Charlie. Like I said, I think one of the activity that Stephanie managed to get every one of us to connect
Hmm.
is to have these live sessions. And from time to time, I tune into people live. And it's really super good because I enjoy listening to people and when they have a good idea. And Charlie is one of those people who happen to have a lot to say. And I love listening to him. So that's why,
Thank you.
I thought like, geez, that's really a good session. We should record some of that. And then at one point he said, well, I'm not speaking so well by myself. Maybe if I can talk to someone else, that might be better. So that's when the idea come to me that, I should have Charlie
I
on
see.
a session with me. And then Ravaka was on that session as well. And then she was like, oh, tell me more about this, tell me more about that. So like, when I know you're going to come on the session, I said, Ravaka, do you have questions? And she has 10 questions to
Yeah.
me.
That's
Right.
totally
So
blew
we're
me
like,
away.
yeah, I'm like 10 questions. Right. And then like, that means she is so determined to learn about you. So I'm like, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't you come on board and ask the questions yourself? Give me some
Hmm.
time to rest and start, just show my pretty face so then I don't have to do much. All right. So let's
No,
let's
now
start
it's
it
getting
that
nervous.
way.
Now it's getting nervous. Come on.
Yeah.
Relax.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
exaggerating, but yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's our session. I mean, it's super casual. None of us is professional. We are amateur, and I don't even think people are going to care when they watch this video. But I think if we capture it, it's a
Mhm.
waste if we don't share it to the world. Because part of it is my ideology is I want English world to be full of
Mhm.
people like you and I. We none of us have English as a native speaking language, but we manage to communicate. That's the most important thing. That's what I want, right?
Mm.
All right, Ravaka, I'll give the first question. You're privileged to ask my man the first questions.
Oh, already. So we. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
If you're ready, I
But
mean, if you're ready.
wait. Have you already? Okay. The first question will be: can you introduce you? Is can Charlie? Can you introduce yourself, your background? Because I knew that there will be someone who will watch it. Maybe I know a little bit about you, but maybe someone else knows. So I want you. Please, can you tell us who you are and your
Okay.
background?
Yeah, sure. I did this kind of thing a lot of times, mainly for the interview, like the job interview. I gotta say this question is pretty hard because you want to spend only like 1 minute or 2 minutes to summarize everything about yourself. So I just want to make it very simple. So basically, I came from China, like back in 2015. I came to the US, and my first station in the US is Boston. So back then, I know nothing about the US. So I just went to Boston to read my master's degree. That was my first master's degree, which is in major of finance. And then I basically just studied finance in my first university in the US, which is Northeastern University. And then after graduation, because of some reason, I went to New York City to read my second master's degree, which is in the major of statistics. And then I graduated from my second university, which is Fordham University in New York City in the beginning of the 2018. And then I moved down to Virginia to work here and also live here. This is where I'm currently living. And my background, I actually have four backgrounds. Like when I was in college back in China, I have dual degrees in economics and mathematics. And then I came to the US to read my master's degree in finance and applied statistics. So basically, I majored in these four majors. So basically, I was circling around in the business area. Plus, I also learned some coding stuff. So right now, I'm doing the coding thing and IT stuff in the IT industry in the financial department, the financial companies. So yeah, so I'm still like circling in the business area, but just going to the other way. But I'm still trying to go back to my business area. That's my career path, I guess. Yep. Oh.
Okay, okay. So you said that as you are from China and you moved to USA. So my other question will be like, how do you manage because there are different cultures. So how do you manage that? Like when you first time to move in US?
Mm-hmm. You mean about culture, like culture difference between
culture, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say at the very beginning, I remember when I went to Boston the first time, I was literally lost. I think I was lost for completely 1 year when I was in Boston. I just realized how I can handle this culture thing after I left Boston. Because what I don't know how to describe that feeling. I would say right now I'm still working on this difference of culture, but I will be able to handle this kind of thing. Like I can now notice, okay, so this is American culture and this is the Chinese culture, and you gotta have a choice between these two when you speak to different people, Chinese people or American people in a different situation or a different workplace. But when I was in Boston, I just follow American rules. Like, I mean, I try to follow American rules, but in a very bad way. I try to be very confident, but inside, I was still a Chinese, and I think I mimic this kind of thing pretty bad. And somehow I even think, okay, maybe I should abandon everything about Chinese culture. Like, Chinese people try to be humble, trying to be polite, but American people mostly they will, I will not say show off, but they will be aggressive to show they have this ability or show they're confident, even though sometimes they are not be able to do that, but they will try to fake it to make it. That's what we always say in America, like fake to make it. You always be confident without any condition, and then maybe sometimes boom, you just make it, right? So I was trying to do that at the time, but then I feel that, well, sometimes it's actually make you in a bad situation if you just do that without thinking nothing. So then after I came to New York City, I try to distinguish which one is good, which one is bad. So at this point, I'm just trying to absorb all the good things from each side and also abandon the bad side. Like, I'm a Chinese, so I want to be cautious about everything. I want to be polite, so I want to leave that part in my part. But on the other side, when I want to grab some opportunities, I cannot just hold back. I will say, okay, I can do it. You see what I mean? It's like I want to be both sides. Yeah.
I thought that I've heard of that story before, cultural difference between different country, European and American. And I agree with you on that part. American is so forthright about, when you do advertisement, there's like, here's the deal, like the deal is in front of you. Here's here's a discount, buy now for me, or something like that. So I think, and then you have background from Chinese, is be more humble people. So essentially, if you have the skill of 100, 0 to 100, and you are like at 50, you will sell yourself maybe 40. But then American would sell themselves at 75.
Exactly.
And now you're like, you got caught in between, because now you're facing with these people, like, how am I going to position myself? I'm going to be super humble, or I'm going to be just about right. And being about right is hard, okay? Because when you draw the line like 50, you're like, you want to sell yourself at 50. Really? So in some cases, and in American we say, well, if you sell yourself 50, we can discount you a bit further.
Yeah.
That's
the interesting.
Totally understand.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, the tricky thing is that sometimes, like my feeling is like sometimes I can even feel lost about myself, because when you speak Chinese, you have the Chinese personality, but when you speak English, you have an English personality. So what I'm gonna show you right now is the Charlie who speaks English. So maybe that's why you feel confident, you feel positive. But when I speak Chinese, then there's another me. I mean, this I actually talk about this kind of psychological thing with other people, with the other learners. They agree that like language can actually explore your another personality. So so when I was quiet, when I was alone, I also kind of think, okay, so which me is the real me right now? I'm still struggling for this kind of thing. But when I talk, I mean, it really depends on which language I am and which person I'm talking to. Like when I speak to my Chinese boss, I can be more humble. But when I speak to my American boss, I would just try to mimic the American personality and try to like enjoy that atmosphere and be present with my boss.
So you mean that like when your personality is depending on the language that you talk, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah,
when
I think you also have experience. Like if like as time goes, you may have this. You might distinguish this kind of phenomena.
Yeah, yes, a kind of, but I mean, man is not in the opposite way. I know that the American people is like, friendly and outgoing, but for some reason, I am the opposite. In my language, I am like that outgoing and, love talking. But when I was when I am in America, like it's the opposite. I am more quiet. Maybe that's another subject, like maybe a lack of confidence, I think. But yeah, it kind of, I agree in some point that like depending on the language.
So how about you, Sample?
I can't remember actually. I can't recall the time when my personality shift between the language. But I do notice that some occasion or some settings are different than others. Like it's not about the language that I speak. Sometimes it depends on who I'm with at that moment. I am introvert in a sense, and introverted people sort of like think that they are super quiet people. They are not really quiet people. They speak a lot. They just need to be in a safe zone, right? Once they are in a safe zone with a group of friends who tune into that wavelength, talk about a topic they like to talk about, enjoy talking, enjoy your company, then they're like, you need to stop. You need to tell them to stop speaking. Right. But most of the time they don't really. Most of the time I look at people talk about something I don't care about. I don't even want to speak. So, so that is different. But then this is the first time I hear from Charlie. But at the same time, I also quite aware that Charlie is operating in financial business.
Right. That's right.
And sometimes you're talking about these cutthroat people, like who are like business people, either do or die. They're not like more casual settings where office worker like me, or just a regular company, right? Finance people make or die by being able to just make their make their deals, right? So they are super aggressive people. I'm keenly aware of that difference. So that may be affecting your personality to a certain degree, but maybe have less to do with language than the setting that you are in.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
But I want to back a little bit, because like you said that you are like more open, but what at the beginning, because you are from another country who doesn't speak English. So what happened when at the beginning, when you moved
Hello, Rebecca.
in
You're kind of in
USA,
and out.
like do you feel my kind of my new, like I am at the beginning of the experience in USA. So I want to know, like, if it is used to like that before and now, or there are a kind of changement during the time that you live here.
Do you mean like how I changed from the beginning until now, like how my personality changed?
Do you think that it changed, or it got the same during the time that you arrived in here and until now, depending on the language, depending on the level that you more mastering the language.
I think I did see the change of my personality, both coming from the language switch and also my own like effort, because before I realized that there's some weaknesses in my personality, like for example, I was very shy. It's not only because I speak Chinese. I was shy. I was a very introvert person. I don't know how to express my feeling, and I would just get used to that at the time. Like I don't even care like who else will care about me. I just stay alone and do my own thing. But then I feel like, okay, so if I want to really be successful in the financial area, then I need to be outgoing. I need to, even though I need to realize that the fact that I can be the introvert person or ambivert person, but I still can train myself to be outgoing person. You see what I mean? Like when I talk to people, I can use some strategies to listen to each other very carefully and ask the right question and try to create a chemistry between the people I'm talking to. But it still costs my energy. I can still feel so tired after that interview or whatever. Not judging, by the way. Not judging, by the way. It's just the strategy, because this is good for me to develop my personalities. Because when you get used to the outgoing personalities, it will get easier and easier and more comfortable to be outgoing, right? But still, I can still realize the fact that I'm an ambivert person. But that doesn't matter. Like it doesn't bother me to be a more outgoing or more easygoing. So I think the language, both the language and my self-training helped me to change a little bit about my own personality to be a better one, to be a better way. Yeah. I hope that makes sense.
Really, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ravaka, have you seen the occasion where you need to be outgoing person sometimes?
Yeah, of course. Like when it depends on, as you said, the person that you talk with. Like that what this kind of person need to feel like talking, feel like this kind of thing. So it's kind of, I mean, it's not about you change your personality, but maybe that's my personality, but I just choose like, oh, here I have to be like this, and here I have to be more calm and quiet. But both is my personality, and yeah, so I think so.
Yeah, I agree with Charlie as well. For me, people misjudge me all the times. People think I'm outgoing person, but really I'm not, right?
I think you are.
Yes, you are.
That's one of the example, right? Because when I'm on the run of some mission, for example, like I'm curious about something, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. But then I sometimes feel bad that people misjudge me because I'm really in the wrong setting. I'm just gonna be like, like don't bother me, like don't mess around with me. I'm just gonna be myself. I'm just gonna read my book.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my time. It's my one time. I don't need anyone. Yeah, I can understand it.
In that case, I think actually, Sample, you have an ambivert personality. It's not introvert. Like you can feel comfortable speaking to your old friends. You just don't want to cost a lot of energy meeting new people because you're afraid of you're kind of afraid of putting yourself out of the comfort zone. I mean that's acceptable, but you still want to push yourself to talk to different people. I think that's not totally introvert people, because I have a friend who's totally introvert. Like he doesn't want to talk to his old friends because he also think it just takes energy. Like he even feel tired after talking to the old friends. That's like introvert people. That's what I'm thinking. So I think both of like all of us are like ambivert. We're in the middle. We're in the middle. And I think this kind of personality is actually the best one, because not only we can have our own logic about doing our things to keep our improved, but also we have this mindset to push ourselves out of comfort zone to make our better person. Yeah.
All right, Ravaka, you have more questions on your list.
Well, we have a lot of questions.
Bring it up.
Okay, so no worries, just relax. Okay.
Relax. Okay,
Yeah,
bring it up.
So, because you said that you are now, like, we can say that you are like stable in terms of working right now because you have a full-time job in USA. And I know that not everyone can do that. So how do you do to integrate in this if I can say that, how do you do to integrate while in the USA as a non-native speaker? Wait, sorry. as you work in USA, what advice you can give for a non-native speaker who willing to work in USA, because it's kind of not really we have another challenge. Like it's not the same as for a native speaker. As we are non-native speaker, we have another challenge. It's a different country, and yeah. So, but you are kind of you kind of make your own way, and like you kind of raise it, if I can say, and you are successful in this thing, if I can say. So can you give us your like your journey on this one, and some advice for some people who willing to work in USA, especially for non-native speaker?
Okay, so well, first of all, I would say success is a really big word. I cannot handle that word. I would just say like how I finally stay here. I gotta say I do have a lot of trouble before. Like um how to start this, because my job, my major is in financial area, so it's different from the other area, right? So in the financial area, like for the international students, it's very hard to find a job in the United States, because as an international student, you need to get your work visa approved by the USCIS, which is the immigration group or something like that. So most of the companies in the financial industry, they don't want to sponsor your work visa, because the nature of this industry, like people chase for money. People doesn't chase for, I mean, some people may chase for their enthusiasm about crunching numbers or looking at those financial charts or financial statements, but most of people, they chase for the money. Like if you pay me more, I will go to another company. So that's why a lot of company doesn't want to sponsor you, just in case you just leave the company right away after you get a sponsorship. So when I was in New York City, when I was learning finance, I didn't know this kind of nature. I just thought, okay, so if I'm hardworking enough, then I can be successful. I can get a good job. So just with this kind of thing in my mind, I just keep pushing myself to be, to improve my fluency and improve my knowledge. I also try my best to talk to the people, talk to my alumni who works on the Wall Street. Even though I know that at that time I was like a little bird, I was nothing, but just keep pushing myself. And I don't even want to see how far I was from being successful. I just doing that without any goals. I mean, that can be good. That's also can be bad. The good thing is that you don't have to be worried about how successful you are, or how like whether you're successful people or whether you are a loser. But the bad thing is it will actually make you kind of lost, especially inside. Like you don't know whether it's good or bad. Like, is it really worth it to sticking to your goal? And another thing is that it's really bad for your health, because if you really push yourself really hard, you just ignore everything. And but anyway, so with that kind of thing in my mind, I think somehow it helped me to improve my competitiveness. But at the end, I get a job not because of this. I get a job just because I take another way. I went to the IT industry, because in the IT industry, the people, like American people, they rarely do the IT stuff, because they are not, I would say they're not smart. I would say Chinese people and Indian people, they're smarter than the American people regarding the coding and the mathematics. So then I just take this way to, working in a financial company, but I still didn't get a chance to work as a business analyst, which is my ultimate goal. I just get a job as a release manager currently in the IT department of the financial industry. Because I think that, okay, so this is what I want to say, because a lot of people, they are so idealism when they try to find a job in the US. So they will reject something that they don't like. But actually, I think it's more important to get your first step in the door. And then you'll think about your other options. Because, for example, right now, like when I was in my current company, I was just a tester. I was totally in the IT industry, which is different from my previous goal, right? But now I'm getting more and more chances to step into the business area. I'm trying to, you know, network with the business side, business users, and I'm still working on it. And I believe that maybe in the next like couple of months, I'll be able to step into the business area to, you know, go back to my financial dreams or whatever. So I think the very important thing is that you need to get your first step into this door. Doesn't matter what you do or like what you want to do. Just get the job first. That's the key.
Just like sorry, just like get the job first. But
Yeah.
you know, like you are alone here, you don't know anyone here. How do you handle that? Like when you were, because here it's really important to know someone else. So I mean, in terms of networking, how you handle that? You know, to find.
Oh, networking. Yeah, networking. Yeah, that's a good question. Networking is another thing. I would say, beside of the hard work, network is actually even more important than getting a good GPA in the US, because I think in the business area of the US, like business area of the US is contributed a lot by the network culture. Like most of all, the alumni want to get like refer another alumni to their companies. And my job, my first internship in the US was referred by my alumni. And then after that, when I get a chance to work in that company as an intern, and I was referred by another colleagues who referred me to another Japanese companies, but I rejected the offer at the time. Then another alumni referred me to my current company. So I would say most of the job opportunities comes from your alumni, comes from the recommendation. And if I want to give you the number, I would say 98% of the chances comes from the alumni, comes from the networking, and only 2% of people, the chances, job opportunities comes from just purely submitting the resume or going through the official website. Because here's the reason: most of companies, they don't want to go through those HR process because this costs a lot of money, costs a lot of time. They just want to find a person internally. If you are able to do this, I would just transfer you from this department to that department, so everything's done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think it's even more important to talk to people working in the industry and try to get some information from that particular job position, and then try to just keep touching with him or with her, and then just waiting for the opportunity. You cannot like guessing when the opportunities come. You just have to wait, but don't feel disappointed if you don't get a job opportunity, because that's nature. You just have to wait and just keep yourself pushing yourself, improve yourself. That's what I would say.
I'd like to add a bit. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, go so Charlie, because you're talking about networking, so I want to, because it's really important. So in terms of networking, did you use like LinkedIn to find some opportunity? And do you have kind of like advice to give us? First of all, did you use LinkedIn first? Yes.
Yeah. I use LinkedIn a lot.
Yeah. So because even though everyone is using LinkedIn, not everyone has find an opportunity.
Hello.
I think she's done freezing.
So to have like kind of tip from LinkedIn. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I hear you. Okay.
It's coming not.
Okay, how about Charlie?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Try again. Try again, Ravaka. Try your question again.
Okay. So Charlie, I am asking because we are talking about networking, and one of that is LinkedIn. So, and there are a lot of things on LinkedIn. Not everyone finds the good opportunity. Maybe some of them, So I want to ask you if you have like kind of tip or from your experience to share for for someone who is this LinkedIn and to be more successful in terms of using that and finding a good opportunity, and to find someone who can help, because we are talking about networking.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is very powerful. as I know, I would not say it's for all the people, all the industry, but as international students for in the financial industry, I would say this is very powerful because I think this is the only way that you can reach out to the people working in the industry. And I would say, well, there's a function in the LinkedIn that you can filter the alumni based on your major, based on your backgrounds, and also based on the company that you want to work for. So basically, you need to go to that LinkedIn. Well, first of all, you need to have a nice profile about your own on your LinkedIn, yeah, right? You need to specify the bullet points about what you did, even in the school projects about what you did, and try to be result oriented. The result oriented means you need to, like in each bullet, you need to tell your audiences or the potential HR that you made this contribution, you improve the revenue by 30%, or you manage you decrease cost by 20%, something like that. Because the HR wants to see how you can contribute to the company. They cannot guess, right? You have to tell them directly. Otherwise, they just refresh it to another page. They don't want to see your, because they also have the limited time. So the first thing is that you need to sharpen your LinkedIn profile, try to make the result oriented. And the second thing is use the function of a LinkedIn alumni. Because I think in the US, the alumni culture is very important, and the alumni would love to refer alumni because they can also get the referral fee. Like they can get some money back if the recommendation is successful. And they also tend to believe they're alumni because they're studying the same school. So you need to send some invitation with some correct words like, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm from this school, and I'm very interested in your industry. Is there any possibility that I can buy a cup of coffee and then we have like a 30 minutes informational interview? That's it. Keep it short, keep it simple. And you don't want to expect them to reply because most of all, they are very busy. But if you get one, you need to work hard on it. Like you need to be prepared well for that. Like you need to look through their profile very nicely and to make some notes about, okay, what kind of question I want to ask and what kind of follow-up question I want him expect to ask me so that I can give him the best answer. So based on this kind of mindset, you also need to summary all of the things you want to tell them. Like what did I do in my school project? What did I do in my first internship and second internship? Keep it short to let them feel that, oh, so you may be qualified for some positions in my current company. And also try to research some questions for them for extending the conversation. For example, so do you think what kind of books I can read to get into your industry? And if they would love to tell you the books or movies, then you have more chances to reply the email in the future, like, oh, I read your book, I read your email, I read your books, or I watched some movies that you recommended, you recommend me last time. So I think it's pretty good. So maybe we should talk about that. And then you have another chance to have a second time of the informational interview. So as time goes, he or she will know more better. And someday he may just think about you when he wants to, hire a person or hire assistant, something like that. So I would say there are a lot of details in that, but this is, I think currently this is a strategy to, get the networking, like power, like make your networking powerful.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
there seems to be another level of, talk to people you don't know, who don't know you, and you share nothing in common, right? And that just means like you reach out to some people, and hopefully one of them would give you opportunity to meet up, and you can take it from there, right?
Right. Actually, I think Rebecca now is doing a great job. The first, our first call, she literally was, I would say, stalking my profile and just give each of my posting like. I can see like she's literally reading my profile, reading my posting carefully because she wants to ask some smart questions. So I think she's doing a great job right now.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely brilliant.
When I was at her age, I knew nothing. Trust me. When I was at her age, I know nothing.
Yeah. By the way, Charlie, do you read a book about networking or watch something about that? Can you share us if you have a recommendation book or I don't know show or YouTube channel, whatever, who can
Well,
help us?
I think Stephanie did a lot of help on this. Actually, I'm actually having her class. She has a class called the connect and communication. So in that class, there are a lot of things about how to improve your speaking skills, how to be confident, and how to, you know, have a how to say how to have a develop a very good logic when speaking, when you make a presentation or something like that. So I'm also learning something from her class. And besides of that, I just watch some videos on the YouTube. Like if I want to search how to be confident, I just search that. Because I think sometimes people just worry about something, but they just forget how to fix this kind of thing. But actually, you know, anything can be found on the internet. If you just feel nervous, if you feel kind of lost, the first thing you can think about is, okay, how I should fix this. And the second thing you should think about is, okay, go to the internet, Google it. That's it. And then after Google it, after researching something, searching to something, you'll find more answers, and that will guide you to the correct way. That's what I would say. I don't have a particular books. I'm not a book person. I'm just like an internet person because the nature of my industry, I was doing the equity research analyst for like 1 year. Basically, my job is just Google everything. So I have this kind of mindset, like if I have some problem, just Google it.
Yeah, nice. I do that too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's free, that's easy.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, it's a good start, right? It's a good start.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, do you wanna add something, Somphol?
I
Or can I go?
want to let you know that networking sometimes is what we are doing now in the form of networking. You you find people that can tune into your wavelength. They are aware of you, like Ravaka. I'm aware of what you're doing. I'm now aware of what Charlie is all about, and that is a form of networking. And I learn from you from time to time about new things, and that means sometimes these are the people that we think of when the opportunity come our way. Like, when we need someone to start, like we know there's opening a vacant position and so on. So that's another form. But the most important thing is the personal relationship. It's not like the opportunity first, it's personal relationship, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you. Like the communication or the interview, it's not only about interview. You just want to make friends with them, because in that way you can relieve yourself. You don't have to be so nervous. I think right now I'm still working on this kind of thing. Every time I think I have an interview, even this time, I think it's a very official thing. So I'm still very nervous. So I just blah 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 blah. I cannot stop talking. If you say I'm stop, if you cannot stop talking, that means I'm nervous actually.
um, that's yes, but yeah, we talk about like work and thing, but how about the social life, like the daily life? How do you manage that? Like, how can you make a friend? Some stuff like that. Because I am like, because I think that there are like during the challenge there are a lot of people who want to move abroad, to move to a English country. So they probably watch this film. So can you share us about this experience? To because it's really important if you want to live abroad to have a social life. So how can you during your experience, like how did you do to have like this social life and you kind of belong to USA right now, right? Like you really belong. You have your friends, you have your job, you have your apartment, you have everything that you may have in your country too. I mean in China. So how can you build this life? Like if I can say, how do you do to belong to this country right now?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think I'm the expert of networking with all the people in the U.S. Mostly, I can only play around with my friends or some ABC, the American-born Chinese, because I think uh, my ability to speak to the American people really depends on their accent or their how to say their speed of speaking English, because if they speak so fast, then I will be very overwhelmed, and I will say, okay, I don't get it. Okay, bye, something like that. Yeah, I can be also very nervous when I talk to the people speaking fast like that. For example, I meet some. I want to meet some people working in the Starbucks because I think they're pretty nice. But every time I try to talk to them, they just speak very fast. I mean, I'm not judging, but this is just nature because they just feel comfortable speaking that fast. That's their habits, right? But I think I still cannot get to their point. And also because some culture thing, they have some reference into some movies or some like Star Wars. I never watched the Star Wars movie, so that when they talk about some Jedi or some characters in that, I don't get it. Then that makes me feel awkward, so that I cannot get involved in the conversation. So, but for my other friends who is American-born Chinese, so I think because maybe we look familiar, we look similar, so that can boost my confidence. I can talk to them. So it's different. It's different. I really cannot give you a best idea about how I can survive in the U.S. regarding the association with the meetup or the 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 networking casually or something like that. But there's a application called the Meetup. I think you can try that. Do you know the application which is called the Meetup? Yeah, there are some activity or events recommended to you based on your own preference. I think I tried that. I tried a lot of times when I was in New York City, like go to different buildings to meet up and also to have an exchange conversation, language exchange conversation, something like that. Maybe that's a good idea. How about you, Sample? How about you? I mean, you must have more experience like that, right?
In terms of what the getting
Like, yeah, like meet people casually in Sydney.
in Sydney, in Australia, well, yeah, it's more like the common, ground, like common topics you want to talk about, and what people are able to find. I get along well with international people who come from overseas who we share that similar experience. People who come from Europe, and I normally approach people who are similar to me. If you a full room of people, and then people who are more or less have friends, I would not be able to tune in easily to those people. I would be able to tune in people who sit alone and look like me in terms of like just by themselves, and then maybe out of 10 people, I would be able to manage a very deep relationship. I don't have 10 friends or 20. I can't handle 20. I can handle 1 or 2 maybe, and then I meet them often. And most of the time, there will be someone who not actively looking for someone to tune into them. It's more like someone that would see them as they are, see them that nobody see them before. And then we would start from that point. So in a sense, I have difficult time blending in to groups of native or locals, right? Because they will start talking about their high school, and you're like, oh, I don't know about high school.
That's right. Yeah. But have you ever get any like identity crisis?
Sorry?
Have you ever have any like identity crisis? Like if you live in this country for a long time, and you just don't know which party you should be. I mean, for most of people,
Okay.
that identity crisis happens on the American-born Chinese or American-born how to say your people?
Thai, yeah.
Yeah. Because they're born here. Sometimes they cannot tell the difference. Like they can now tell themselves whether should I be American or should I be Chinese or should I be American or Thai. Like I think this kind of thing also happens on us if we stay here for a long time, because like inside we want to get involved in the American society, but we also know that we are who we are. Like we can like get rid of our nature. So I think sometimes I will get this kind of identity crisis. I don't know if you have this kind of thing before.
No, I don't think I have it. I normally always thought that I'm an outsider in a sense. I never belong to the society or stuff like that. But that's just in my mind. Other people are very open. If you join, for example, join a church, they will embrace you. If you join a community activities, they would more or less embrace you like, oh, come on, like, thank you so much for being part of us, right? So those are in the terms of not formal office context, but outside activities. And when you use that term, like the sense of belonging, that's the social part, right? Like, what do you think the native thinks they belong? Why? Because sometimes they have a group of friends that graduate from the same school. They have that sense of belonging, but you don't have that sometimes. So you need to find another thing just to connect yourself with the rest of the community. But most of the time, people are very open. Like US is very international country. Australia is super multicultural country. It's just whatever limitation it was in my mind. It's just me that limit myself.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good conversation, folks. I'm mindful. I want to connect with you. Let's connect back in maybe 5 minutes if you don't mind. I need to look for a new room and then start another session. How about that, Ravaka?
Okay, there.
I mean, Oh, okay. Like you mean another 40 session?
Yeah, I think I'm reaching that limit, and also the meeting room I booked in right now is running close to. I have 7 minutes to go. I'm just about to be kicked out, so that means I need to search for a new room and join the session again from the new room. All right.
Okay.
This has been a good conversation, and we'll try to continue our conversation. Get some break. Get a glass of water. We'll be back. It's a very good session.
Drink some tea. Okay.
All right, folks. Let me stop recording first.